Greater light. I hope y'all can hear me. I'm going live from the phone again. I'm not going live from my computer, so it's different. I can't do my intro. You know, this is the first time ever in my life I'm sitting here. I ain't got nothing to do but sit and think that I wanted to complain. I like it's something I want to, but I can't. I want to, but I can't. And then that song keep coming to my head. So I got all these songs playing that I grew up listening to that, I understood it back then, but I don't, I know it now. I understood it then. I understand it now. Like, I've had some good days. I've had some hills to climb. I've had some weary days and some lonely nights. When I look around and I think things over, all of my good days outweigh my bad days. I won't complain. Yeah, right? Like yesterday, a piece of fish filled me all the way to the end of the evening. Like I didn't even feel the need to eat any dinner because that one piece of fish filled me. And it was literally one piece of fish. And guess what? I didn't have to go catch it. I didn't buy it. It just came to me. It just came to me. I was sitting in the library trying to cool off. And it came to me. Somebody said, here's a piece of fish. And then I thought about Jesus and the fish. What else I want to talk about? What else I want to talk about in my experience in the belly of the beast? That's how I feel, right? Like I'm in the belly, but it's a reason I'm in the belly, and it's nothing to complain about because I was complaining before I got in the belly. Like Job, I was complaining before I even got in the belly. Huh? I was doing just like Job. And then in the position that I was in, who would be complaining? It should have been no complaints. Because when I tell you my daughter is a boss, right? She not just a boss on her job. She a boss as far as motherhood. And she took care of her tribe the way she's supposed to. But I was still looking on the outside complaining, like, get my case. I want my case resolved. I want transparency by the government, knowing and seeing that they not going to do it because this is revelation. They not going to do it. They not going to. The only being that's going to keep their promise is God. God is the only one that is going to keep his promises. I could talk about, it won't be a complaint, but how I almost passed out on the side of the road. I remember when I went live yesterday, I was saying I ain't limping. I guess I was so happy I was doing too much. I was doing too much out there in that heat, right? Knowing that I had just got released from the crisis unit with all my medicines. my heart medicines. And the angel that been, because she don't want me to say her name, been with me for the past, I say 48 hours now. Her and another young lady, we coming across that same, all of the trees and forests and all them pictures that I was showing yesterday. We coming across, and all of a sudden, I mean, I just broke out in a sweat. My chest started pounding. And I was like, oh, goodness, I don't think I'm going to make it. They said, you can make it. You can make it. We can do it. We can do it. And they kept pushing me. But my body wasn't letting me. So I sat down up under an oak tree. There's an old oak tree there. We sat down under the oak tree. And then I said, God, I could do it. I could do it. I got up and walked, I won't say 50 feet. Walked 50 feet and this right there, right on the concrete, this out. But them same two ladies, because one of them, she knows so many people in the area. And then the man, I guess it was a man, because I didn't see, was behind us in his house, came out with a big old cup of ice and stuff. And the other young lady, she kept saying, I'll get your bag. I said, you know what? If you wasn't here, I'd have to make this journey by myself so I could do it. And I got up and then went right back down. And some lady pulled out in the car. I think she had a Lexus or something. And she said, you need some help. So I think she just stopped I don't know what she stopped for, because she said, I'll be right back and I'll give you a ride where you need to go. And she kept on going. But then a white car came up and he said, you need to go to the hospital. But I know I could have went or should have went or could have went, and how I was feeling, but I was just in a grateful moment. Even though all that was going on, I was still grateful. I was grateful that these women that didn't have to be around me was around me, that God sent these angels around me. And when we finally made it to the destination, I looked around and said, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain. I just ain't nothing to complain about. I know God going to keep his promise. I know he on his way. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Oh, I'm still going to be doing federalregister.gov. I'm still going to be talking about Kamala raising Shiva, talking about she the daughter in California. How about this? While I was in the crisis unit, I was telling the people while we were watching Jeopardy, I said, yeah, y'all know Kamala Harris says she the daughter in California. Y'all know Kamala Harris says she's the granddaughter of good Iblis. Y'all know Kamala Harris says she's related to Modi and all they shivers and demons and slithering tongues. And while we were watching Jeopardy, they made sure that they put up Kamala Harris under the vice president's what do you call the Jeopardy sections? Whatever. That was the first question on the under the vice presidents. It said Kamala Harris is the daughter of California, huh? So there I had confirmation while I was in there. So I'm still going to talk about that. But I'm not going to complain about none of this. I'm not going to complain about this heat because God got it this hot for a reason. I'm not going to complain about the storm that's going to come because God got it like that for a reason. I'm the one who chose to walk out. Ain't nobody put me out. My daughter ain't kicked me out. My family, everything was good. But what happened is I opened up my email. I said, PCAS ain't respond to me. I went live with y'all that day. That was the last day I went live from the computer. I went live, still trying to be joyous and happy, singing all kind of songs. Then I went to look to see if the judge, if she responded to my email. I ain't see no response for her. And for something that's roused up in me, and I just started screaming out. I wasn't cursing, but I'm tired. I was like, God, I'm tired. What's wrong? What all it takes is for my sister and the judge and all of them just to clear it out. But God don't want it that way, obviously. Obviously, God don't want it that way. Hey, can a dummy? Can a dummy? Hey, greater light. Obviously, God don't want it that way. So I'm gonna go with the flow, huh? I had an anxiety attack or whatever the episode was. And I kind of liken that to how God hardened the heart. He didn't harden my heart and or anything like that, but I believe that fire that was inside of me just had to come out. So here I am. Here I am in my sandals. Huh? That one piece of fish can of dummy filled me for the rest of the day. But that's all I came on here. I came on here to be in a more transparent way. Huh? I can't even explain that. I sat at a church this morning. I said I'm going to go around and do some, like Charles was, show y'all the history of this town I'm in. Because it's a lot of old history, but it's a bell at one of the churches that ring every half an hour. And when it rang this morning, the song was, I think it was Jesus, the light of the world. Whatever it was, I started to record it and I changed my mind because I felt like it was just for me at that moment. But it's a lot of history here, and it's they got one of the oldest trees, the oldest oak trees in Georgia. One of the oldest oak trees in Georgia is right here in this town. I thought Albany, Georgia had one of the oldest trees, but there's a history behind that oak tree that I'm talking about out of Albany, Georgia. But I just found out yesterday that the oldest oak tree, supposed to be the oldest oak tree in Georgia, is here in this town. So I'm going to do that and just go with the flow. My steps are ordered. And however I'm going to take one step, and wherever it lead me, that's where I'm going to go. It's another thing about this town, too. So I was on the main street yesterday, and I could see a little activity, like prostitution and stuff going on. And, that's not me. But every car that stopped, when they was about to stop, like, hey, you want to get a ride? Hey. When they looked in my face, they offered me water. And, or offered me something else. It wasn't that feeling of predatory environment. It wasn't a predator. I didn't feel that. So that was a good thing. And then even this morning, okay, yesterday I struggled 3 blocks. I struggled because that was my first day walking that distance in a long time. And today, instead of it taking me 45 minutes for them 3 blocks, it took me probably 30. And again, I'm not limping anymore, so I don't know if it's the sun. I don't know what it is, but I didn't limp. I didn't have, there was no limping going on. And I said I was going to go to church, and I changed my mind. I just figured I'd just lay out here in nature again. And some dudes were passing by, some men, they were passing by, and they spoke, they said good morning and all that, and I said greater light like I do to everybody. And he said, where you trying to go? I said, nowhere, I may go to church. And then he started directing me to a church that he think would be fit for me. And I'm literally sitting next to a church. So when he did that, he said, if you need anything, he said, here's my number. And I said, I know I look homeless, I guess. So he said, anything, you need anything. He said, you up there at that place right there, right? And I said, yeah. He said, well, you seen all the people yesterday on that block right there? He said, my cousin just died. And I said, oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. And he said, yeah. And so while we exchanging numbers, he said, well, what's your name? I said, Abigail. He said, no. He said, my cousin that we just buried yesterday, her name was Abigail. He said, oh, I got to tell my family this. He said, but if you need anything, he said, I'm not going to blow up your phone or nothing, but if you need anything, you call me. And him and the dude that was when they first was approaching me, they was talking about what they didn't accomplish for the week. They said, I ain't accomplished nothing this week, man. And the other one said, I accomplished one thing, but I didn't. That's the conversation they was having as they were passing me. So that was a good experience. Something like, you know, that was a good experience. Who is this with me? Equator 7. Hey there. Hey there. So that's all I came out here for. I don't know. I'm waiting on the angel. And I told y'all about the angel yesterday. Her sister was in crisis unit with me. This is a small world. Her sister was in crisis with me. And she was going through whatever she was going through with her life and stuff. And she was talking about her ancestors and stuff, right? So she said, yeah, because I said something she didn't like. She said she'll get her Indian ancestors to F me up. And her Indian ancestors, her sister and her nephew is on the way here to find me. They like, where you at? Where you hanging? So, oh, then here's another experience. As I was in the library, a lady got out the car to use the bathroom, which she says she normally does. And the same Indian ancestor, that's all I'm gonna call her, Indian ancestor. She knew the lady. As a matter of fact, she helped raise the granddaughter. So the granddaughter come in and I'm talking about she beautiful. She looked like she should be modeling somewhere, superstar or something. She came in, and in the crisis unit, we went through an experience where you could play any kind of music, but you can't play nothing about God. You can't play no religious if it has to do with God or Jesus. You could play Cardi B, you could play ancient Indian music. You could play everything except anything that has to do with Jesus. So because of that experience, when we were standing in the library, the lady asked me to sing. And I said, okay, so I'm going to sing. I sang for her the song that I sang while I was in the crisis unit, It Is Well With My Soul. So I sang that. And she said, did anyone ever tell you it sound like you have more than one voice when you're singing? And I said, no, I hear it sometimes, but nobody's ever really told me that. So once I finished singing, they said, you know what? And it was like 5 or 6 of us right at the entrance of the library. And in my mind, I was like, they might tell us we can't because we praying, we about to pray. And we prayed right there in that, and she asked for my number. And she owned trailers and stuff. And she said she was going to get back with me today. So there's that verse in the Bible that says, God's seed never begged for bread. And I said it before. I've said it to several people, even in my younger days when I used to run away from home. I ain't never been hungry. And I've never had to beg. And I'm not knocking what prostitution is, but I've never had to prostitute. So there's another thing that I'm grateful for, because in this situation that I thought I'd never be back in, when I play that intro, I'm never going back, never going back. In my mind, it's always been about, I'm never going back to homelessness. I'm never going to go back to a mental health institution or a mental health crisis or anything like that. And now that I'm back in it, or I'm going through this, I never would have imagined I'd be sitting here like this right now. And again, it's nobody's fault. It's not I didn't have to walk out. You know, I didn't have to walk into this, but hey, here I am. And what I'm going to be sharing on a daily basis is the blessings and the positive things that I'm going through. And like I said, that ain't going to stop me on no federal register. Go to my community post and you'll see some stuff I put in there, especially about that Invest hurricane. When have they ever named a hurricane Invest? Huh? With some numbers and some digits. So that's it. Greater light. Thank you, Equator 7, for coming through. Canada Dummy and anybody else watching in the bushes. Greater light. Y'all have a blessed day.